Hi guys. I'm back. This is this is a no makeup day. I know that like I'm having when you get if you ever had a migraine and you get that aura and the bright light bothers you, well that's kind of how I am all day. So this is in a low light camera as much as possible, and you can see that this eye is so much darker. Anyway, the light bothers me. So still getting up and praying, still taking communion, still trusting God. Um, you're like, well, it's only been a few days. You're right. It's been a few days, but it's still a battle. It's still a battle. It's not like it gets easier day by day. It gets harder day by day, and you balance yourself. So I don't know. So let me go back. I went to the doctor yesterday, to my primary care physician, and she was just in shock that this has even happened, and um, making sure that the tests are run and what tests will be run. And so they did as much as they could do, because of course you have to wait on insurance in the United States to agree. No matter how bad you need it, you have to have somebody with no college or with a bachelor's degree to tell you and your physician, who has the doctorate, by the way, what's good for you health wise. And so somebody with no degree at all, or with just a college degree, makes decisions for you. And I find that a little bit wrong. Yes, they have doctors on call, but the initial first decision has to go straight to somebody without a doctorate. Um, so I'm kind of sitting here. I'm babysitting dogs, of course. I have my son's dogs. I have mine. I have my protectors. But all right, so back to my story. I went back yesterday to the physician and had as many tests run as I could run, because we're waiting on authorization from insurance before I could have the other tests to determine different things going on. It explains a lot. And what really bothers me was I used to see an optometrist just because I only needed reading glasses and I didn't have other issues. But they don't have tests, and they don't have the proper equipment to test. So if you get eye pain, migraines in your eye, blurriness, whatever, go to somebody who has the equipment. Even if you have to see a retina specialist, it's worth the money to do it, and not wait and not, be told later on. But that part's crazy. So then I get told I have to make a living will. It's part of the surgery. And I'm just like, I'm trusting God for healing. I'm trusting God for full deliverance. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for he is with me. His rod and his staff comfort me. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I believe that. God and I are in covenant. But yet at the same time, I still have to fill out a living will, and then fill out beneficiaries, which I already have my kids as beneficiaries. But then it's like, what's going to happen to my pictures, my couch, my couches and stuff like that. The bedroom furniture. Of course, they get their own bedroom suits and whatever. But stuff like that. And you're like, well, and I know there's going to be some people who are like, well, are you really trusting in God? Well, stand in my shoes first. Um, and you just have to follow the path that you're on, and trust God through it, no matter what path that is. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to argue with God, blame God. I'm not doing that in any way, shape, or form. It's quite the opposite. God doesn't bring about sickness that comes from pure wickedness. Um, so you have that to contend with, and then just compliance with doctors and filling out papers and stuff like that. That part's just completely crazy. So I have that to do. That's something that needs to be done, and it's one of those days where the bright light bothers me really bad. It bothers me every day. It's always brighter than normal, but today's one of those days where it's actually painful to stare at screens, and I need to stare at screens and get stuff done. But I don't know. Then I think about for those, and I'm going back because I know I'm rambling. I can't get thoughts together, and I don't like that. I still read. I'm still doing my reading, and that's 2 hours of my morning before I ever start anywhere else. Um, it just that's my morning, with him every day. Not going to quit that. Not have no intention to quit that. Um, but it's just things like when people were sick in the Old Testament, they had to go to the priest. The priest was like the law, so they were like the police officers. The police were, or the high priests and the priests were also those who um, they were also physicians. They could check for leprosy and other diseases, other skin conditions, um, stuff like that. So that was one reason that there is this don't wear wool with, cotton and linen and stuff like that, because that was the high priest's outfit. So don't dress up and present yourself like a doctor or a cop. It's not that big of a deal. However, people were like, "Oh my God, you're not supposed to wear, like a dress with cotton and polyester on or something," and they lose it and they make fun of Christians because of it. But that shows ignorance. That's because they don't know that that's what the high priest wore, who was, and we have no trouble saying you can't impersonate a doctor and you cannot impersonate a police officer. We put people in jail for that. However, we make fun of Christians and for that law. People do. The world makes fun, and even Christians. Oh yeah, I don't know why that's in the Old Testament. Study. 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 That's the high priest's clothes. Oh, I'm off that. All right, so I go back. I'm supposed to go back Friday, hoping that they have insurance approved. If not, then I have to cancel my appointment for Friday, which they already know this. So they've got that time slot for the CAT scan, and they're going to do a full body scan to look for cancer throughout my whole body. Now that it's found on my eye, it's uncommon to have eye cancer alone. Usually it goes from somewhere else to the eye. It's uncommon. You could read it up yourself. Google eye cancer. Even the American Cancer Society says the same thing. So my days are filled with doing work when I can. Maybe doing it one night. I thought about getting a patch and putting Proverbs 20:12 on it, which says, "I have eyes to see and ears to hear. Thus saith the Lord." They're both gifts from Him. So I'm thinking about that. I don't know, just a lot of different things going on, and just trying to trust God in the midst of it and deal with aggravating things that are just like, really, and trying to maintain my peace, because that's it. It's about having peace. It's not what I want, what I hope, what I think, what I feel. It's about having peace, and I need peace. I need to always be able to concentrate on Him. I don't know if you ever hear of Dappy T. Keys. He plays instrumental music that goes all day long in the background of my house. Actually, I have it turned off now because I don't want to mess with copyright issues. But he is one of my go-to for just worship all day long. He has videos, some are like 30 minutes long, some are 8 hours, where he plays just instrumental, on the piano, him playing on the piano, music of Christian songs throughout ever. I really like it because it can take you spiritually away while you're still doing mundane things that you have to do from day to day. So, pretty much that's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of where I'm at, what I'm doing. Just trying to walk that line of what's trusting God in faith, and then the other part of what do when's enough, and you like, where's as you walk this and you're diagnosed with some terminal illness, what's the line that you walk as you trust in Jesus but submit to medicine? And I don't believe that they're exclusive of one another. I think they're very inclusive. but it's a fine line. And people judge it, especially those who are not in it. They judge it. And that's not for people to judge unless you walk in those shoes. That's not your place. Your place is to speak life over people, to never, have mercy on them, God, have Jesus, give them peace, give them comfort, give them rest, give them strength, pray for healing. Jesus came to give life and life more abundantly. I'm not about anything different, but at the same time, I also have to deal with the facts. I know the truth. The truth is Jesus set me free. The truth is I'm healed in Jesus' name. By his stripes, I am healed. That's in the Old Testament. And in the New Testament, it says, by his stripes, I was healed. So that's a done deal. And I know this, and I agree with this wholeheartedly, and I'm walking in this. But at the same time, I also have to submit to medical testing and not be foolish about it. God never said, oh, don't you ever run. I healed you of your leprosy, so don't you ever run again to the priest. He sent them. He sent the leper, if you remember. You go to the priest and show yourself so that you can be released and set free, that you can be medically proven that you're clean. So it's a fine line. A lot of questions come up, and it's more questions about, like, how do you walk that line and not cross over into man's thinking and into vain imaginations that exalt themselves against the knowledge of God. So that requires a lot of thought and a lot of prayer and a lot more research. And maybe, it can be all kind of fixed later. But I still trust in God. I still believe God. I do a lot more audio word now because it saves the strain on my eyes. Because my left eye has to compensate for everything that the right eye is refusing to do right now. But there you go. But anyway, that's my update. So Tuesday was my official first primary care physician to get all my preliminary pre-surgery tests done. So pray for me. If you have prayer requests, please leave them. I would much prefer to worry about your problems than my own. So that would be so much better for me. Leave your prayer requests below. And talk to you later. Bye.